Welcome back everyone to episode 16 of 100%ing Gregtech New Horizons. Right now I'm setting up a couple of machines to produce some PVC, and today I'm going to be expanding and redesigning the MV area of the base, adding in another EBF and Pyrolos oven, as well as continuing my HV progression. Now the reason that I'm making this polyvinyl chloride line is so that way we can make the plastic circuit boards twice as efficient as when we were using the polyethylene sheets. And then eventually, once we start making PTFE, we're going to make them 4 times as efficiently, using the same amount of copper and sulfuric acid while only using, say, 1 polyvinyl chloride sheet or, say, 1 PTFE sheet compared to the polyethylene. Take empty cells, make polyvinyl chloride, chlorine on the bottom. Okay, circuit 1. Yeah, I'll just do it this way, circuit 1. So how fast does this methane burn up? Actually, it's not. Okay, it does burn up really fast. But it's fine, we got plenty of benzene. Vinyl chloride, baby! Alright, let's see. 39. Hold on. Molten polyvinyl chloride. There we go. We got a whole stack of molten polyvinyl chloride. Or, yeah, that is right. Sweet. So we can get a bunch of oxygen, which ain't that great. Chlorine, that's not really that big of a deal. 8 2x copper nickel wires. The loot bag is honestly the best one there, for obvious reasons. And to keep up with all of my chlorine demands, I've just been electrolyzing some rock salt as well as the normal salt, although I've tried to avoid using the regular salt so that I can use it for some of my cooking, at least until we have better and faster methods of extracting more salt out of the ground. Moving over to our MV area, we're just going to clear out some more space so that we have room to move the EBF over to, as well as adding in another one. And then we're also going to end up moving over some of our other machines, so that way it's a little bit more organized over here. Alright, there it is. Our machine is all ready to go. Uses. Okay, so I need oxygen as well for this. In order to solve our oxygen problem, I'm going to make a little setup. It is outdated in terms of I think it takes more obsidian to make less oxygen gas. It still works now, it's just you're going to either have to make more obsidian dust in order to electrolyze it, or you're just going to get less of an oxygen output. I don't remember exactly, but it is nowhere near as efficient in the current version of the game as it was here. I'm pretty much just going to stock this with some redstone to make the obsidian, and eventually I'm going to add the macerator to macerate the obsidian into dust, and then the electrolyzer to turn it into the oxygen that we need. But in the meantime, I'm going to head over and start actually moving some of the other machines. So I did end up doing a lot of renovations here. I got rid of my EBF and I moved it back this way, as well as I finished building up the second one. I moved my Pyrolos oven back. I did also finish up a automatic oxygen producing machine. So it just produces a bunch of obsidian, macerates it down into dust, and then electrolyzes the dust into oxygen, which we have plenty enough. Yeah, and then we just have a bunch of iron, silicon, and magnesium that's going to be used for whatever. So yes, I want to have 3 Pyrolos ovens. I kind of made like a cutout of where it's all going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do with this area yet. I don't want to move this anymore, but I wanted to have like a pathway that was dipped down. Maybe I'll figure out something just to keep it all kind of like somewhat raised up. I've been working more on the sacrifices. So we got the 24 MV sacrificial circuits. We still need 18 more HV, and who knows how many more of the LV ones, but I was producing LV ones once again. Welcome to the quote maintenance area underneath the Pyrolos ovens. I'm just messing around with some pipes here, setting them all up so that we have everything ready to go for the second and the third Pyrolos oven once they're actually built. No valid recipe found. And there it is, folks. Our second Pyrolos oven up and operational. Not nearly as good and as efficient as this one, but still producing benzene nonetheless. And for those of you that were curious, I just moved my little fluid extractor back here. I'm going to add more eventually, but this is what we got going on for right now to get our wood tar. One of the biggest problems of having a lot of machines is that you have a lot of pollution, which makes sense if you think about it realistically. So I'm going to go ahead and make an air filter to help remove some of the pollution from the air, so that way we no longer have to deal with the negative effects of it, at least in some small parts of the base for now, because the range of the tier 1 air filter honestly isn't that great. But that's why we'll make maybe a couple of them, or we'll just kind of use one for now, and then eventually once we have access to the higher tiers, we'll go ahead and start using those. We're going places. We're going to clean up this place. It's not going to be disgusting and full of pollution. I think it'd be nice, like, in the future, to just have a bunch of these, like, stockpile made up, so that way I can just not have to worry about pollution, like, right off the bat. When I initially built the air filter, I forgot to add in the mufflers on each side. So all we have left to do is just to finish the little bit of maintenance and then add in a turbine blade or rotor into the slot down at the bottom right here. And this is going to help get the air flowing, as well as we are going to need some absorption filters. They actually aren't necessary for the machine to operate, but they do drastically help the efficiency at which they remove pollution from the air. So we're going to go ahead and get some of those. Alright, we're going to toss that in, turn the machine on, and there we go. We're going to have a lot cleaner air, at least in this very, very small area. But hey, it's a start. And now that that's complete, we're going to go ahead and take care of some of the HV quests. Boom. We're going to have our first HV machine hulls, baby. This is so freaking cool. I'm going to wait for all of them. I'm going to take all of our cables back. There they are, HV machine hulls. Alright, here we go, chat. Oh my gosh. LV field generator. What is that? Oh, there it is. Chat, there it is. Man, if Joker was here, he could see how close we are to space, even though that's not that close. Dimensional goal, the moon. To be honest, night vision goggles are a pain to make. So that would be cool to get those. Oh my gosh, dude. I am so freaking excited for this tier. Soul Eater Experience Storage. So yes, dimensional goals, the moon. Yeah, you have to get moon dirt, moon rock, moon turf. HV is about getting to the moon so you can get titanium used to make EV and AE2 machines. It's a long and involved task though. So head on over to the Space Race tab for more info. You need IV circuits and the HV assembler to get to start the tab. If you're doing the no rocket run, hold a stack of titanium ingots to proceed. Same thing for tungsten steel when you get to EV. Dude, I'm so happy we're getting so close to going to space. I cannot wait. But yeah, the platinum. Let's see what it talks about with platinum. Efficient platinum processing is quite complicated, but for now, we can just smelt it directly into nuggets. This might not be the most efficient route. Okay, so it's literally telling me what I did was not efficient. But it is enough for what we want to do next. At this tier, your best source of platinum is nickel ore from the Twilight Forest, or maybe end stone dust if you've managed to survive the end already. No spoilers on that, because I thought you needed to be to HV to make the Eyes of Ender. Oh, also, I went through yesterday and I claimed like all of the quests that I had. So, we are making progress getting that all done. SMD diodes, SMD transistors, SMD capacitors. Surface mount devices are more advanced circuit parts. They're needed for circuits starting next tier and are cheaper to craft than basic capacitors, transistors, diodes, and resistors. Once you get reliable polyethylene set up, you can save a lot of resources by using SMD components. Be sure to check how much gallium you have available. Might not be worth it to use SMD diodes and transistors until you have a steady supply with an HV macerator or bees. Also look into IC2 crops to 4 times your zinc, sphalerite, and bauxite. I also went ahead and crafted all of the basic HV components, so that way we have them available when we go to make our machines. Specifically, we want the HV macerator next. But on top of that, we also got the quest completed. Yeah, the macerator. One of the most important machines in HV is the universal macerator. It has an additional output slot to get more materials when macerating ores. You really want this. Really, really badly. If you get it, you can say goodbye to your gallium worries. Yes, please. That's exactly why I want it. I'm gonna make 1. I know I'd like 2, but oh yeah, that's a reason why, because I want a power generation for it. But there it is, universal macerator. To power that beautiful new HV macerator, we're also going to build the HV gas turbine, and it is a little bit less efficient compared to the MV1 in terms of fuel efficiency, but we honestly make enough benzene that it's not really too big of an issue right now. So now that we have the macerator set up, I'm going to fill it with some ores that have good chances of dropping extra dust that we normally can't get, especially for the platinum from the nickel, and then also tantalum, I believe, from the tantalite. As we continue to progress into the HV tier, we're going to have to start looking more into some of the multi-blocks. This one may not be the most important one right away compared to, say, the LCR, but it did catch my eye in how cool it is in terms of like realism of actually having to have a clean area in order to produce some of our circuits. How do you make plascrete? Black steel frames and polyethylene pulp with wet concrete. Oh my gosh. We're getting back into concrete, boys. That's insane. Filter machine casings. Oh boy, yeah, all the filters. Dang. Clean room controller. HV machine. That's interesting. You can make that tiny of a clean room. And to save us from having a headache of only having a tiny clean room like that, I'm also going ahead right now and setting up a bunch of mining machines in the nether, so that way we have plenty of resources for actually crafting all of these new multi-blocks that are coming, as well as the future circuits and all the components that we're going to need to continue our progression. Alright, it's been a decent amount of time since we've set these up, so we're going to go back and collect everything and bring it back to the base. And I'm sad to say, once again, I have let myself down by messing with pipes and not remembering to put it back the way that I had found it. So what happened is, you see the pipe on top of the water tank there. I had disconnected it while I was like making sulfuric acid or something like that, because I wanted to put like 44 cells worth of water back into it. And I forgot, as I usually do. I forgot, and then I was just messing around over in this area, getting some more ores processed, like macerated up, and yeah, kabang went everything. So we're gonna try and upgrade that water pump. Actually, probably should do that really soon because that water pump literally feeds everything here. So we might have more explosions if we don't take care of this soon. No giant crater, nothing too massive, no. Thankfully to my expertise in explosion repairs, it didn't take too long to replace everything, as well as upgrade our water pump. Oh yeah, 1800 liters per second. Sorry, Future Blaze. Somewhere in live stream 50 here, I forgot to hit record after I had restarted my game. Damn, I missed a lot. Alright, so to catch yourself back up, you started making a bunch of sulfuric acid, obviously with the chemical reactors and all that good stuff. You can go back in the stream, I guess. It's not in the recordings. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I got this captured either. So we also set up compressors. There's semi-fluid generators under there. We got the quest done for that, that are fueling these. So hopefully the creosote from the farm is filling it up. But now we got all of the blocks being made here. And now we're going to head back into the LV section of the quest book, where we're going to actually do some more oil refining to get some of these other quests done. And as I usually do, I get lost in the quest book and the NEI, and I led myself to this insane multi-block. 64 EBFs to make the mega. Oh my gosh. That is insane. That's 864 copper nickel coil blocks. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, and then look at if we wanted Canthal for tier 2. And I know that this is like nothing in terms of like even endgame stuff. Causes 102k pollution per second. Yeah. We're gonna need a mega air cleaner. Titanium reinforced borosilicate glass blocks. One puny muffler on the top. Yeah, they're a bit big. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks wide. Actually, it's a 15 by 15, and then what does this say? By 20 tall. Hollow. At least it's hollow. So it's like... Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot worse than it is. But it's still crazy. Almost as crazy as the amount of sulfuric acid that we're going to need for making mass amounts of circuits in the future. So in order to help that, I realized it is now actually time to go ahead and make the LCR. Oh my gosh. Sulfur, oxygen, and water right there. That is going to be nice. Oh my gosh. You know how amazing my life is going to be when I have these multi-blocks? That's going to take me, even if I could stream every single day in like 1 week, it's going to take me a week. Tired of using small cells to process chemicals? Build a large chemical reactor and you can just pipe it in, pipe in and out fluids. Or use the glorious large fluid cells to deliver and remove fluids from the hatches. You can decide if the reactor should void any extra products when your outputs are full, or not by toggling the void mode in the GUI. There are also recipes specific to only the LCR, sometimes even allowing you to skip a step, so keep your eyes open for that. Additionally, as a multi-block, LCR also counts as a clean room for any clean room recipes. Huh. Ew. Alright, well, let's see how we make PTFE. Polytetrafluoroethylene. So, obviously we need to make tetrafluoroethylene. Chloroform and hydrofluoric acid. Well, I just take my fluorine, add in my hydrogen, that's easy. Chloroform. Really? Methane and chlorine? So now I'm going to need a good way to make methane. In order to make this process of making PTFE a little bit easier, I went ahead and set up a little area here to kind of semi-automate the production of it over in the LV section of the base. Chloroform. Actually, this works out perfectly. Boom. Item auto output. Drains it into there. And then I can get a pump to get right down here with my hydrochloric acid. Beautiful. I don't know why, but early on in my playthrough with this mod pack, I keep forgetting to check which machine tier is actually necessary to craft certain things. So I was trying to craft everything with the LV version of the chemical reactor when I actually needed the MV one. But thankfully I had the resources and I just made that right away. Okay, there we go. Let's not mix these up because that would be a sad day. I thought it was another chemical reactor. I'm blind. Nope, you're good. I assumed that's what you meant. I'm like, I don't think I made one. I'd be kind of sad if I actually did make one on accident. Alright, so we're just going to put it right there, actually. Just right behind. Chemical reactor. No, I need to completely replace that one there. Alright, that's in, that's going, that's good, that's powered, there it is. Okay, we're gonna start making some bars out of this. Fluid solidifier, boom, boom. Yep, that's good old Blaze for you, forgetting to make it molten before trying to turn it into bars. Okay, that's on me. I need to add oxygen. Circuit 1. Bang. Now that we have some of our first PTFE ingots, we're going to go ahead and make some of the blocks for the LCR. There it is. Large chemical reactor. Bring me a vat of polyethylene. Although, that is crazy. This is going to be our first HV multi-block. So I'd probably want to go with this one. And then, honestly, we smelt all things, that doesn't matter. A distillery is going to be really important. I do want to get this going. Mainly because I don't even know if I'm going to need that much gold. But I want to get the cinnabar sifting, so I get a lot of mercury. And then I can just get a lot of byproducts of gold from washing it in the chemical bath, which is quite nice. It's crazy. Once we actually, like, finish up, what do you want to call it? I guess, once we actually get some of our extra stuff set up here, I guess some of the multi-blocks, just to make our lives easier, we're going to easily finish these up, which maybe if I have more time next time, just try and get them all done right away. But maybe put a couple more machines in the MV area, and then who knows? We could possibly go to the end, we can go to space, which I technically want to go to space before I even go to the end, because I think space is cooler than that. Unless space requires the end, then yeah, we'll figure that out. Alright, Future Blaze again with the video editing. I forgot to start recording at the beginning of stream 51. Nothing really happened. Not really. Oh, I guess I did make some of these chemically inert machine casings. So I put these all in, and yeah, we're still trying to build the large chemical reactor. I promise, Future Blaze, I will get better. I had a very interesting morning, Future Blaze. Remember, you went to work and they didn't tell you that work got canceled? Yeah. That's our excuse for today. But there is no excuse for why we have this LCR all the way backed up pretty much against the wall. So we're going to move it over to the center of the room a little bit more, so that way we can insert the items and the fluids a little bit easier for all of our manual crafting until we get to AE2, and then we'll just have a completely different system by then. I'm just going to go ahead and hook up this LCR to an MV energy hatch. This should get us most of the recipes that we want right now. And if we have to, we could always add a second one to overclock it to HV, and then eventually upgrading the energy hatches to HV, EV, or whatever tier we're in to get all of the other more complicated recipes. So we have energy. I can't see. Okay. There it is. That is complete. The LCR. So now we just need to repair it. Awesome. LCR is up and running. Or at least ready to be operational. So now that we got the LCR up and running, our first recipe is going to be making that sulfuric acid for our beautiful circuit boards. Water, oxygen, and sulfur. Alright. 24 seconds. 30 EU per tick LV. So this is going to be 12 seconds because we have an MV energy hatch. I'm interested to find out. So yeah, we want water tank, oxygen tank, and sulfur. I realized that I accidentally put on 6 input buses rather than 3 of the inputs and 3 of the outputs, so I took care of swapping those over right away. So that's good. Water, oxygen. Very nice. And now sulfuric acid, circuit 24. That goes on the input hatch, I do believe. Okay, so it does take 6 seconds. So like I was saying before, oh wait, no, it is divided by 4. Damn! That's nice. 6 seconds to make 1,000 sulfuric acid. Oh, of course, you're gonna go to that output. Whatever. Even though I love the infrastructure of the LV section of the base, it's still really slow compared to what I would like in terms of my machine's processing speed. So I'm going to go ahead and actually make a couple more MV machines here, so that way we can craft some things a little bit quicker, and this is also going to lead into the preparation for making the clean room to make the higher quality and the cheaper circuits. So yeah, the plate bending machine allows you to directly make double, triple, or more compressed plates, which might be useful for your first rocket in HV tier. It also allows you to make dense plates. Oh yeah, so obviously we can make dense plates, finally. EV circuits need MV circuit assembler, so make one. Oh really? That's funny. HV quest, MV circuit assembler. Don't mind if I do. I'll easily do that. Ooh, emitter. That's fine. Electrum rods. The robot arms are going to be a little bit annoying. So advanced circuit assembler. Get one of those. Yeah, look at that. So there we go. We got that. Oh, we need the clean room for those. Yeah, maybe we could work on the clean room. And because I want to build a relatively decent sized clean room, we're going to save that project for the next video. And also before we go, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a tour of the base just to kind of recap everything that's been going on so far. So yeah, I did do some mining. I upgraded my chests for the inputs and the outputs. So I cleared out like an entire silver, lead, and what else is there? Cryolite vein. I got some sulfur going, so that way we have plenty for our crafting. Nothing much going on there. I also upgraded the wood farms a little bit. I'll go ahead and show that in just a second. Isotope Infinity, welcome back. Oh, obviously I also upgraded my second EBF, which is quite nice. So we have 2 EBFs of the same quality. MV energy hatches, all of the Canthal coil blocks, which is kind of nice. I made myself another advanced chemical bath so that we cool down ingots twice as fast. And I know, before you start yelling at me in the comments, I did eventually realize that it is very inefficient for having 2 of the exact same types of EBFs separated, unless you had some weird chemical line down the line. Weird that I said line twice, but you get what I mean. Eventually, I do end up adding these 2 together so that they're wall sharing, and then that way we're not wasting as many coils. But you'll see these kind of separated just for a little bit in the series. And that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I want to say thank you very much to everyone for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like down below. It helps all the other Gregtech enthusiasts to find the video, as well as supporting the channel. And speaking of supporting the channel, I want to say thank you very much to all of the amazing channel members. And with that, I want to say thank you once again, and we will see you all next time. Blaze out.